The Sultanate celebration this year, 51st National Day, comes in glorifying the bright days in the history during which the citizens remember the immortal moments of the Blessed March and celebrate the pioneer achievements under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said since he took over the reins of the government in the country on the 11th of last January. He is striving steadfastly with determination, wisdom and sound vision to chart the steps of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said bin Taimur. May Allah rest his soul in peace.
إننا نقف اليوم بإرادة صلبة وعزيمة لا تلين على إعتاب مرحلة مهمة من مراحل التنمية والبناء.
Renewed renaissance, building and development.
Through discussions with experts on governance, business, arts and culture.
51st National Day.
The banking system has shown resilience in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, weathering the crisis and helping to limit its wider economic impact as banks try to manage the transition to a greener and more digital economy. A lot of factors are still affecting the banking industry here in the country due to the slow recovery. In our special today, in line with the Oman's 51st National Day celebration, we'll talk about how banks here help boost the economy during these hard times. Our guest is a brilliant financial advisor with 25 years of experience in banking, technology, real estate development, and tourism, was part of the very successful New Age Banking Summit recently. It's an honor to have with us right now the Chief Executive Officer of the Oman Banks Association, Ali Hassan Musa. Sir, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Frank. It's an honor to be here.
You were appointed to the role of Chief Executive Officer in 2017?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So would you say the current situation regarding the global pandemic has been the most challenging period the bank has ever faced? And what is the most important lesson you have learned as a banking leader during this pandemic?
So 2020 last year was indeed a challenging year for all across the globe. In Oman, it was the pandemic hit hard the economy. Our lifestyles. It has coupled with economic slowdown. Mm-hmm. That really was a challenging year for the banking sector specifically. But because of its strength, because the banking sector is well capitalized, is resilient, it has actually helped the economy and the government and the people to withstand the severity of and the effects of the pandemic. So this was really a difficult year. We're past that now. We're on the right track of recovery, and things are looking better now. Though the GDP, the gross domestic product, went into negative mood, the banking sector in terms of growth actually was positive. Not at the same pace as the years before, of course, because of the macroeconomic conditions, but nonetheless, it actually grew last year, and this year is even better.
Okay, that's pretty good news. So the banking sector plays a huge role in financing and acting as catalyst to the transition to a greener economy here in the country. So how important are banks to the economic future here in Oman?
So the banking sector anywhere in the world and in Oman as well is the backbone of the economy. So when you're looking at an economy that is growing, defining the backbone for that is the banking sector, facilitating payments, digitizing payments, provide lending to stimulate the economy, as well as enhancing savings, people's savings. The combination of all these factors is a catalyst of an economic growth.
So how will the COVID-19 economic recovery play in the banking sector?
With the pandemic last year and with the leadership of the regulator of the banking sector, the Central Bank of Oman, the banking sector came up with a relief package to all segments of society, different segments, different businesses. So there was there were the people who lost their jobs, the people who their salaries were reduced, businesses of all sizes, small, medium, and big, were affected. The relief packages consisted of a number of measures, relaxing some ratios within the banking system so that to enhance liquidity, so that the banks can actually even further lend for businesses so that they can continue to survive during hardship, deferment of installment, and so many other measures. So all these measures now that took place last year, some of which continue to carry on until today, because the recovery in the economy is on the path of recovery. Certain segments are slower, or sectors, to be correct, are slower in terms of recovery compared to others. So the banking system continues to help and assist, especially the ones who need help.
Yep. Of course, the SMEs are the main point here, because they were affected, really, right?
Absolutely correct. The SMEs are when it comes to hardship, when it comes to cash flows, their business is volatile. Their existence is depending on the supply chain that they're in. Many of the SMEs are actually part of a supply chain. When the bigger business, when the sector as a whole in which that SME works is affected, the first victims are actually SMEs.
Yes.
And those are the ones who the banking sector really focused on since last year, trying to find solutions, trying to help as much as possible, and where help is needed.
Other than COVID-19, what are the major challenges that the banking sector is focusing right now?
So the focus now is on stimulus, on really now the growth of the business, since the economy now is as I mentioned, is on the path of recovery. Airlines, airports have opened up. There is business. There is international trade. So is a stimulus for the economy, and that's really the focus now is growth.
How important has the digital banking role been in the bank's overall response to the limitation of the banking imposed by the pandemic? What differences from other mobile banking services in the local market?
Digitization and digital banking is really important is an accelerator of economic growth. Having payment systems that are secure, that are fast, that are instant payment between people and businesses, between businesses and businesses, really stimulates growth and fast tracks that economic growth. And we've seen it elsewhere in other countries as well. Oman has built a payment infrastructure that is state-of-the-art, facilitating all sorts of payments, whether they're real-time gross settlement system, ACH, mobile payments, e-wallets, internet payments, and so forth.
So what trends are you seeing right now emerging in the banking and financial services?
The segmentation and customer engagement. So as the society matures and the economy matures, you'll see now the focus is on different segments of the society. You will see now many people have retired. So there are certain services and products that were launched by the banks targeting retired people, because those people would like to live a good life now, and enjoy their retirement. As well as the younger generation. So the younger generation have different needs. In Oman, we have different types of generations now. We have Generation Z, we have the Millenniums, we have Generation X, and so forth. So the needs are different. And that's the focus, is on segmentation and customer engagement with the banking system.
Islamic banking has returned to double digits right now. The future of Islamic banking in the country is emerging. What is your perception of Islamic banking here in the country in the next 5 to 10 years?
Islamic banking in Oman is fairly new compared to many other countries. It is less than 10 years old since Islamic banking started operating in Oman. We now have two full-fledged Islamic banks plus a number of Islamic windows. It has been a phenomenal growth in Oman.
Yeah, it is.
A real success stories. And other countries are really looking at Oman and how this type of banking has emerged first and has been so successful. In less than 10 years now, the total deposits and total lending of Islamic banks and windows constitutes of around 16% of total market share.
This is good.
And that's, as I mentioned, phenomenal growth and an amazing success. Not even 5 years. I expect less than 5 years that 16% will go up to 20%.
Wow.
That's my expectation. So there is a demand. There is an organic demand of Islamic products and services in Oman. What I see in the next few years is that more products, more services offered by Islamic banks than what we have today. We also will see more structured product for the Islamic banks in managing their own assets and investments, liquidity. So all that is yet to be introduced in Oman in terms of structured products. But that's something will come up very shortly, I believe.
All right. So I think Islamic banking has been very, very successful here in the country. We were a role model since the Islamic banking was introduced here 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Right. So the VAT was implemented this year. Is it working now? How did the banking sector embrace this new development?
Value-added tax is an important element in the taxation structure and governance for governments, really, and generating additional income or revenue to their revenue stream. With the value-added tax, the banking sector, through the Oman Banks Association, worked very closely with the tax authority over a number of years.
Okay.
So over the last 3 years, before even implementation, we've worked very closely with the government, with the tax authority, and ensuring that the tax implementation goes smooth, in ensuring that how transactions are treated, which transactions, banking transactions, are, for example, exempt, which one will have the tax rate, what is the recovery mechanism. It's a whole complex world of managing the entire process, but it went very smooth because of the work that we have done and the preparation. So now, the tax system is implemented in the banking system with great success. Even clients now, whoever registered for tax, gets their statement of how much actually VAT they have paid through banking transactions.
So how are banks succeeding in meeting up expectations? As you said, the younger generation is very important right now, right?
Correct. So Generation Z or Gen Z constitute of approximately quarter of the population of the world. That percentage is even higher in Oman because we are a young nation.
Yeah, of course.
This generation has different type of behavior and a different type of needs. How is that so? The Generation Z have a very short span of attention. They are on, their lifestyle is on social media, revolves around smartphones and smart devices. They expect frictionless banking. They do not necessarily want to talk to human beings. They want to open online accounts. They want to transact easily through online channels. And also, they would like their banking or any other service that they use is to match their lifestyle through social media. So there has to be an evolution and a close working relationship between the banking sector and their lifestyle, which is social media. You do not expect Generation Z to actually go into a typical or a standard mobile banking application.
No.
They do not like to log out from their social media and log into to another app. They want their banking through their social media.
Yeah.
So that's a new thing that's happening in the world. Banks in Oman are yet to actually work on this, to be able to deliver more products and services targeting Generation Z. One example is my own daughter, who went very recently to the UK to study. And being a father, giving her an advice, so I explained to her the process of opening an account in UK, in a bank account. And when she settled, I called her and I said, "Did you open an account?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Is it one of the banks that I've mentioned?" And she said, "No, Baba, I opened with an online bank." So
Yes.
that generation wants online banking all the way.
Yeah, right. So how about safety, security for the banking sector?
So cybersecurity is the number one risk, if you like, whether for banking or for critical infrastructure, including government infrastructure. So the banking sector works very closely together and independently also to manage that risk, to reduce that risk, to safeguard the money, because banks are trusted with money, and that trust is not only the physical means of safeguard, but also the cyber security. So there's a lot of effort, a lot of work that goes in the background to actually reduce that risk.
So how do you compare the security 5 years ago right now?
It's a continuous evolving process. Security means improve all the time through new technologies, through new means, new solutions, new threats intelligence. Cyber world is a world on its own. Whether it's threats, whether it's security, whether it's forensics, it's a whole new world, and it has improved, and it will continue to improve. Yes, that risk is always there. The traditional the criminals are less now, and more cyber criminals. There is the dark net, and there is all these cryptocurrencies and all that. So the banking system in Oman and elsewhere in the world really works very hard to reduce that risk, to safeguard the money.
How about cryptocurrency? Do you have any idea regarding?
Cryptocurrency is something that has come up because it's a marketplace, and digital currencies have their use. There are thousands of digital or cryptocurrencies around the world, and they will continue to increase. There will continue to be new ones. However, there is volatility and there is risk, so people need to understand the volatility is in the price of the cryptocurrency, the risk of losing the cryptocurrency, the theft, the misuse, all these risks are there with cryptocurrency. So people need to be really careful about venturing into cryptocurrencies. Some countries like Russia, like Georgia, Brazil, have decided to issue their own cryptocurrencies. So the central banks there said, we will issue an official cryptocurrency for the country.
Okay.
And now there are two schools of thoughts there. One is that, yes, issuing a cryptocurrency that is backed by the central bank, by the government of the country, is good in reducing the criminal activities on the web.
Okay.
And provides an option to people to use an official cryptocurrency rather than ones that are available on the net. The disadvantage, or the others, if I correct myself, if the other school of thought is like the US Federal Reserve, like the Bank of England, they say we will not issue our cryptocurrencies because this is a matter or a dynamic of the marketplace.
Yes.
So we will not interfere in the marketplace. And then the rest of the world is wait and see game.
Yeah.
So that's
but right now it's really a trend. But if that trend will continue or what. But
I think it will continue. I think there will be more cryptocurrencies, but as I mentioned, people really need to be careful because of the risks involved and the volatility of the price.
How do you assess the response of governments and central banks at the turn of the first and second quarter of this year, with the global supply chain collapsing virtually overnight? Both supply and demand expired. Was pouring money into the markets.
So the economy this year is despite all those challenges that you've mentioned, Frank, has been growing in Oman. The macroeconomic factors are positive, have been positive this year, whether it's the oil prices, whether it's the production, the local production have, gone back post-COVID. We will see now we are at a stage that COVID is behind us, though we still have to wear masks and live with it. Yeah. But in terms of looking forward, I think we are moving ahead into a phase where we're beyond COVID now, and really the focus is on future.
Credit cards, is it going to fade soon, or is it going to continue? Or
credit cards is a product that helps people, borrow money for specific items for a short term.
Okay.
The danger of credit card is excessive use and non-payment, because the rate of interest or the charge on the credit card is high because of the flexibility it provides the customer. So there's you have to be really cautious about using credit cards, that you use them only when it's needed, and when you use them, you pay back.
All right.
That's the key of using this product. It is not a long-term lending. It'll be very expensive to keep borrowing on credit card and living on a credit card. That's not right. And many people actually have lost a lot of money by doing this.
Yeah.
So people really need to be educated, be aware that this is a really good product, but only when it's needed. You use it when you have to use it, and then pay it back. Yeah. And what we've seen also from studies is that Generation Z, even the millennials, are aware of this. They're financially more literate than Generation X, like me, like myself. And the credit card is not on their top priority. Okay. They want products that are practical, ones that help them save money as well, rather than spend money.
How about investments now?
Of course, there are many investment products and services, good ones available through banks, some of banks in Oman. There are also means, digital means helping you for investments, or even without investments, only for personal finance.
Yeah,
help you save money. There are means now. There are apps. Whether they're independent of the bank or bank-related apps that help you with your own personal finance, put a savings plan for you. All that is important. And once you have enough cash savings, maybe you want to diversify and go through investment products as well. All these facilities and features are available in Oman.
Okay, so OBA is also, into CSR activities and giving back to the community. Could you please highlight some few upcoming ones here?
Sure. So the Oman Banks Association is a professional association, is a non-profit association. We are independent. We, as per the laws of Oman, we under the governance structure, we report to the Ministry of Social Development. So we neither report to Central Bank of Oman nor the banking sector. We are our stakeholder, main stakeholder is the society. So we do what's best for the society by working with the banks, by working with the regulators such as the central bank. The CSR is an important matter for the banking sector as a whole, not only OBA, only the Oman Banks Association. So you'll see each bank having their own CSR strategy. sustainability strategy, and they report that on an annual basis in their reports. As far as Oman Banks Association is concerned, we're really focusing on the financial inclusion.
Okay.
So also on an annual basis and a continuous basis throughout the year, working very closely with banks, with the regulator, with the Ministry of Social Development. We do a number of programs under the financial inclusion umbrella, if you like. So financial inclusion can be defined as the having the right products and services at the right price and accessible to all segments of society. These are the pillars of financial inclusion. And then also there is on top of it financial literacy. So we work with the Ministry of Education. This was pre-COVID because during COVID everything went online. So pre-COVID and now post-COVID, working with the Ministry of Education, where we have branch visits by students, school students, to teach them about financial literacy, about not specifically banking products, but about the concept of finance and saving. Under the financial inclusion also we do lectures and gatherings and events, whether they're physical pre-COVID or during COVID. We did them online with university students, college students, again helping them and understanding about banking and about finances. We've done workshops with the banks and Ministry of Social Development and associations of for the disabled. So the association, An-Noor Association for the blind, and the other association for this disability. And this workshop and it was a digital workshop, online workshop. We listened from different associations and the society having difficulty with challenges they face with banking services, whether they're physical challenges or no, they're product and service related matters. And we have come up with a plan, worked with the banks and the central bank to actually have banking that is friendly for the disabled, whether in terms of accessibility, in terms of engagement, in terms of products and services. And very recently, the central bank has issued these guidelines to the banks based on that workshop to actually instructing banks to follow certain guidelines to help the segments of society. So these are just a few examples of the initiatives that we work on.
Wow, this is incredible. Yeah,
Thank you.
I think it includes climate change here, right?
That is something big in the world. I really would like to see this as a priority in Oman. It is unfortunately not there yet in the banking sector in Oman.
Yeah.
But this is something that we will continue to push to be on the radar list, on working closely together for the environment. Recently, we were hard hit by a cyclone, Shaheen. So we are really victims of climate change, and we need to work hard to do that. Banks in developed countries have committed for zero carbon emission, net carbon emission by 2050. Would like to see that in the region as well, in Oman as well. So something for us to work on.
Yeah, maybe green banking soon.
Absolutely. So that's something there to help, to lend and help businesses that are green, giving them incentives. Maybe lower interest rate, facilities to help green businesses. So that's something that is already there in Oman, but we'd like to see more of it.
Correct, yeah. So how do you see Oman banking sector changing over the next few years? Do you believe that the CBO is well positioned to accommodate those changes and continue being the country's leading financial institution?
Absolutely. So our regulator, the Central Bank of Oman, is a dynamic regulator. It has come up with new things depending on the recent development that have happened. They have also established or set up their own fintech committee that we work very closely with, and they have issued fintech regulations. They are available on the Central Bank of Oman portal. So fintech who would like to work with the banks need to register. There is something called a sandbox, like a lab. And all this application is online through the regulator's portal. We've worked very closely with the Central Bank of Oman, and also having a roadmap for open banking, something new that we will see. So the banking sector is evolving. The central bank is well positioned to guide us, to lead us. It is also to the banks themselves to pursue these opportunities. The new developments are opportunities, they're not threats. They can be threats for banks who do not actually change. So what I see is that banks who do not change may disappear, and new things will happen. Banks will evolve. New banks will come in. Online banks will come in, like it's happening even in neighboring countries like Saudi Arabia. Their central bank has very recently, gave a permission for online digital banks. That's something that's going to happen here as well, I believe.
Yeah, because there are a lot of banks right now are closing down. Globally. Some of the banks are, because of the pandemic, have been affected by this. And the Wall Street, according to the Wall Street Journal, how many banks? Maybe around 20 or 30% of the banks are closing down.
Of course, it has. The pandemic has hit the banking sector globally, as well as many other businesses. In Oman, as I mentioned earlier, the banking sector is resilient, has shown resilience. It's well capitalized. It actually has helped the economy weather through that storm of COVID-19, and continues to help the businesses, and we're looking for growth now.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. How do you describe the banking sector's effort to complement His Majesty's Oman Vision 2040?
So the Oman 2040 vision is a dynamic plan that affects or enhances all the aspects that touch the Omani life.
Okay.
There are a number of pillars. There is a clear roadmap. The pillars, you can talk about people and society. The other pillar is the economy and diversification. The third is the governance structure. These are the three main, and under these three, then there are a number of paths and a clear roadmap. So the banking sector is a cornerstone, is a backbone of the economy and diversification, as well as the people and society, because there is a two-tier approach. It's a digital society now, and the banking system works very closely in terms of providing those services in a digital manner. It is also there to help the diversification and the economic growth, and that's one of the main purposes of the banking sector. It is also to do with looking with the partnership with the government. So the private government partnership really works well, and the banking sector helps accelerate that. We spoke about the VAT. That was a government private partnership into implementation, smooth implementation. But also there are many government and private sector partnerships for projects, and the banking sector is there to actually accelerate this, to help and to support.
So, according to you, sir, the banking sector is a reflection of the economy. Once the economy goes down, everything goes with it. An increase in gas output, the infrastructure spending plans that will help growth recover in 2021 and 2022. The GDP is expected to exceed 70% by next year. In the wake of the continued success of vaccination rollout across the world, we can be optimistic that our battle with COVID-19 is almost over. especially in the banking sector. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. It's a huge honor having you in this program in celebration of the Oman 51st National Day celebration. Your message to everybody for this day.
Thank you, Frank. On this joyous occasion, I congratulate His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq and the people of Oman on the 51st National Day. Happy National Day.
Okay, so all the best and more success to you and the Oman Bank Association, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank
Okay.
you.
That's the Chief Executive Officer of the Oman Bank Association, Ali Hassan Musa, for the National Day celebration. My name is Frank. Thanks for listening.
The Sultanate celebration this year, 51st National Day, comes in glorifying the bright days in the history during which the citizens remember the immortal moments of the Blessed March and celebrate the pioneer achievements under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said since he took over the reins of the government in the country on the 11th of last January. He is striving steadfastly with determination, wisdom and sound vision to chart the steps of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said bin Taimur. May Allah rest his soul in peace.
إننا نقف اليوم بإرادة صلبة وعزيمة لا تلين على إعتاب مرحلة مهمة من مراحل التنمية والبناء.
Renewed renaissance, building and development.
Through discussions with experts on governance, business, arts, and culture.
51st National Day.